Fade Away is actually the last song I wrote. It's pretty cool how the song got together. I was in New York and I did some sessions with writers and nothing really fits because I was like, I didn't feel it. But then there was a guy, Jerry Wonder, and he's a producer, and he also produced the score of the Fugees. So he's really cool, really hip-hop, fat beats. And he invited me to his studio in New York, and I just went in the studio. He let me hear some beats he got, and Fade Away was one of them. And I just jumped in the studio. I knew immediately what kind of melody it was, and the song was written in 3 hours or something, and then it was finished. The Ragamuffin featuring J. Cole, yeah, it was of course a smart step to have a featuring with somebody who's that big. I'm not into a lot of hip hop, you know, it can be really gangsta here in the US, but the way he sings and rhymes, his vocals are just beautiful, and the melody and the sound he has, you know. So it was a big honor that J. Cole wanted to do a featuring on Ragamuffin, and I think it worked out. Famous, it's actually one of the first songs I ever wrote. Yeah, I think I was about 17 or something, and it's about not wanting to get famous, but everybody around me wanted to push me in it. So that was my way out, you know, to write that song. And Farad, my producer back then, he put a really cool beat under it, and then Famous was written. The next song is On the Run. It's also a song what I wrote with Farad, you know, and he produces some amazing beats. And the sound of the beat just really attracted me. So I sang over it, and the song is about depression. I want to fight against it, and it's actually written for a famous singer in Belgium, like a really cool woman who was actress and singer, and she committed suicide suddenly, and nobody expected it. It's something, you know, that really intrigues me, you know. It's also, my whole first album is about self-acceptance, you know, so it's all about thinking and analyzing and fighting against yourself, and so On the Run is an example for that. The More That I wrote it with a Jeroen, and it's actually a guy who lives in Belgium as well, who is also pretty famous. His band called The Subs. It's really electro, you know, and we wrote the song The More That I together. And it's really dubby. It was a bit just too long and too intense to put it on my first record, but it's really cool that I can now finally get it out. Then Break, it's actually my favorite song what I wrote myself. It's because I did 2 years of classical guitar, so I learned picking through it, you know. I learned chords by myself, but the picking, like the classical Beethoven stuff, I learned through the lessons. And Break is really an example of that. It's really picking. I really thought very good about the melody I wanted to give it to, and most songs have just been like blah blah blah, really fast, but Break is really an important song, and it described perfectly how I felt, which was really depressed. The lines are perfectly how I felt, in combination with the picking. I love to play the song every time live, you know, even though the public is really young and it's a really intimate, dark song, but I always want to play it. So I'm happy that Break is now on that record. All I Need From You, written with the same guy that also wrote Just Because I Do together with me. It's the first time that it's been like an assignment to write a song, you know. It was for a movie, the Twilight movie, and they needed a love song. So it's the first love song I ever wrote. It worked out really well. It's really deep, and the piano and the vocals, so I'm happy that I use it now. Zana, the song is actually a famous Belgian song, but we did a cover of it because it was for charity for sick children. We did the cover for that to get money for them. I did it together with Jeroen, the guy from The Subs, and also Tom Barman, which is the front singer of Deus, which is also a big band in Europe. And we did the song together, and it was really cool. And the guy who made the additional song is really happy with the cover. So yeah, it's cool to put it on the record now. And then the remixes, yes, that's something that I really love to check out. You know, it can be just perfect sometimes really crappy, but if it works, then it's so good. And for example, the Crazy Vibes, my best friends, AKS, they're really dubstep, and I played with them in the beginning, and they did a remix of Crazy Vibes, which is really dubstep and dark and electronic. So also to help them, you know, it's also cool to put some songs of people that I love, you know, put on my album. But also because it's just the best remix you can ever have. And I always, when I play with them when I'm in Belgium and I have time, then I do it with them live, you know. So it's really dubstep, which I love a lot. I do it on my next album probably as well. But this is a bit flavor of what I wanted. And then Crazy Suffering Style, the remix. It was a remix of Black Joy, and it's the best remix I got for that song. I fell in love with the extra vocal in the verse. It's also a bit electro, but more dub. So then you have dub and reggae and a bit of dubstep, you know, on the album. So that's why I chose this song. The Ragamuffin remix is also pretty cool. It's really electro. And the guys that made it are Body Spasm, also a really cool band in Belgium. And the guy from it is also Peter Sene, who also made Just Because I Do. So we're really close friends all in Belgium, so I really wanted to involve them in the thing that I do, you know. It worked out, and the song is it's pretty special. I think it's the most special remix you hear, but it's really cool.